Tonight, the results of a year-long Larry Barker investigation. It's a ghost story of sorts. No, not the Halloween type.
That's right. These mysterious phantoms are real-life, full-time, highly paid public employees who don't keep regular hours, and they only occasionally show up at the office. Here's Larry's investigation, The Ghosts of Santa Fe.
It's absolutely a problem from our perspective. We call it time card fraud.
The consequences can be serious. It could be suspension leading up to termination.
Are they special state employees that they don't have to come to work every day?
The short answer to that question is no. They're not special employees.
They may not be special, but they sure act that way. You see, inside the Santa Fe office building are a couple of ghosts, well-paid public employees who only show up for work sporadically and disappear for long periods of time. Who are these guys? Meet the Public Regulation Commission executive assistants. Governed by 5 elected officials, the PRC is a far-reaching state agency that oversees everything from utility rates to pipeline safety. Among the 129 employees who work here are $72,000 a year executive assistants who staff each of the commissioner's Santa Fe offices. For example, maybe there's a problem with your utility bill, so you decide to get help from Commissioner Linda Lovejoy. Her full-time executive assistant is Andre Cordero.
So it's Monday morning, 11:25. Andre Cordero, he's a no-show. And Heather Alvarez, Commissioner Hall's assistant, well, she's a no-show too. And how about Deborah Bransford, Commissioner Lyons' assistant? Well, the office is dark. Just where is Deborah? Who knows?
A year-long News 13 investigation finds most PRC commissioners and their staff only occasionally show up at the office for work. And while elected officials are not required to account for their time, the executive assistants must comply with personnel rules. In fact, our investigation finds some assistants appear to be playing hooky on the taxpayers' dime. Even though their time cards reflect working hours, the assistants are often nowhere to be seen. Ernest Archuleta is the PRC's chief of staff.
As it relates to the commissioner's executive assistants, what is their normal work schedule?
Their normal work schedule is generally an 8 to 5 schedule.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday with an hour lunch.
If a PRC employee doesn't come to work but fails to note the absence on their time card, is that a problem?
That's a problem.
Consider Andre Cordero.
There's been quite a few days where you were not here in the office, but you reported that on your time card that you were working. So I just wondering, you're not here a lot. So when you're not here, what are you doing?
Well, actually, I'm here a lot. When I leave the office, I normally go get something to eat, and then I come back. But most of the time, my time's consistent.
Are you here every day?
Every day.
You're here every day?
Yes. Every day.
Perhaps he forgot about Friday, November 17th last year, or Tuesday, November 21st, and Monday, November 27th.
December 11th, December 13th, December 18th, December 19th, December 22nd. Those are just the days that we checked, okay? And you weren't here, but your time card indicated that you were. I just wonder what happened. How did that happen? Do you have an explanation for that?
I was here those days. That's my job responsibility to be in this office.
We have done some spot checks and found many, many days that your assistant was not here in the office, yet he indicated on his time card that he was. Are you concerned about Andre's attendance here?
No, I'm not. Andre is probably the only assistant who's here. My assistant, along with other commissioners' assistants, are exempt. My assistant doesn't have to be here 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I will just not accept the fact that my assistant is misleading his time.
Andre Cordero resigned 2 weeks ago. Deborah Bransford works for Commissioner Pat Lyons, Our investigation documented numerous time card discrepancies. For example, Bransford was not in the office and did not take leave last year on December 13, 18, and December 22nd. She was also absent in February this year on the 2nd, the 6th, the 15th, and February 16th.
I'm asking about your time. You're a state employee. You're obligated 40 hours a week. So when you weren't here, what were you doing?
Well, there's times that I am working remotely. I'm working in other locations. There are times that I'm representing the commissioner at meetings, at events, whatever it is that he asked me to do.
Bransford says Commissioner Lyons allows her to work from home or telecommute.
I may not always be at my desk, but I'm always available. And as you see me with two phones here, my phone is attached to my office. I'm required to carry this 24/7. I'm on call 24/7, and I am not eligible for overtime. I do letters for my employer. I do whatever he needs me to do. I check emails. I respond to emails. I call people. I have access to call the office. I resolve, critical issues, complaints.
State Auditor Wayne Johnson says telecommuting is permitted only when the state agency has a written policy governing work-at-home rules.
It's not the rule here in the state of New Mexico that every employee at the drop of a hat can decide, well, I'm not going to go into work today, I'm going to telecommute.
Does the PRC have a telecommuting policy?
We have not established that kind of a policy.
So without that policy, have you granted any employees permission to work at home?
I have not. It's not permitted because there's no policy at this time.
If the PRC doesn't have a telecommuting policy, is that a problem?
It's absolutely a problem, because what the policy helps you do is create an environment of accountability for the employee.
Commissioner Cynthia Hall's Santa Fe office is routinely closed. The commissioner says her assistant also has permission to work at home. Our spot check last year documented more than 36 days that Executive Assistant Stephanie DeShure got paid but was not in the office. DeShure resigned earlier this year. Commissioner Hall says her new assistant, Heather Alvarez, is also permitted at times to work at home.
If there are state employees who are playing hooky on the taxpayer's dime, what's your advice?
My advice to management is to begin to document their absences. And if you're a whistleblower within that organization, then keep a log of that individual employee's attendance.
Larry Barker, KRQE, News 13.
The PRC executive assistants are exempt political employees, although they are not required to follow an 8-to-5 schedule. They are not exempt from PRC employee rules or state personnel policies.